Prayers.
Almighty God, who in his wisdom and prudential goodness have appointed also leaders and parliaments for the welfare of state and just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with the abundant favor your servants, whom have been pleased call the points of such important tasks in this land. Let your blessings descend upon them assembled, and grant them the may and in your presence, to and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation, in so just and perfect manner to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those who.
Item number 2, communication from the chair.
Honourable members, I welcome you to this afternoon sitting, and again apologize for the late start. We had a lot of activities this morning, but we hope to catch up. Now, honourable members, I have 2 matters of communication. I want to begin by thanking you for the tremendous work done yesterday when you stood up for the support of the girls of Uganda in the debate to support them with sanitary facilities. I look forward to implementation of our decisions. But today I want to bring your attention to another issue that has not been given sufficient attention within Parliament and also within the government. On the 1st of July 2009, President Museveni launched a national campaign against female genital mutilation in Amudat in the presence of the Kenya delegation and the Uganda delegation. It was expected that there would be more advocacy on that issue. Later, the members of this House moved the private members' bill, and we enacted the FGM law. It was passed. It was also expected to increase awareness and advocacy and hopefully elimination. Along the way, we were able to work with the President to ensure that some 200 million shillings was allotted for advocacy. But this is a long way. From 2009, it's a long way. And there's increased need because the vice has not gone down. It has gone down, but still there. And we need to work in more areas than Sebei and also in Karamoja. Now, there is an NGO called REACH, which has been handling the advocacy in the region, but they don't now have the capacity to go throughout the country. And we think that now the time has come for government to be visible in that campaign. Instead of working through NGOs, the government should be visible itself in the campaign together with its agents. We want to see the government work in the same way they did immunization, they're advocating for UPE. We want you to see the President again wake up and you, the ministers, advocating in the campaign against female genital mutilation. So I want to direct the Minister of Gender in this new budget cycle to come with a definite proposal. We're in the new budget cycle. Come with a definite proposal of what is involved in doing that advocacy. I also want to direct the Budget Committee to take note of that issue and ensure that when we are debating the National Budget Framework paper, this item surfaces, and also the Committee on Gender, Labour and Social Development, because the sector which handles that. I also want to remind the chair of WOPA and the women parliamentarians that they must carry out oversight on this issue to make sure that we help the children of this country to stop being mutilated. The second one, honourable members, yesterday by the Honourable Warswaka, it was a matter of national concern relating to the construction of a bridge and a road joining Kamuli and Kayunga, which has not yet been done, yet it was an integral part of the contract. I recall that Parliament approved a loan from the Chinese government with counterpart funding from the Uganda government for the construction of the Isimba hydropower station and 183.2 megawatt project. The project also included tarmacking of 16-kilometer stretch beyond Isimba to Kayunga town and adjoining bridge connecting Kamuli and Kayunga to facilitate mobility, trade and development. The bridge is part of the Isimba project under component 2 and was to be constructed in 2 spans, one connecting from Kayunga to Kuva Island and the other from Kuva Island to Mburamuti on the Kamuli side to improve transport. The cost of the bridge was embedded in the 567 million, that's 2.1 trillion Simba Dam project. Yesterday, the Minister of Works told us that the responsible sector is the Ministry of Energy, and that they will be giving us an answer. However, again reconfirming the allegations that 24 billion shillings meant for the construction of that bridge were misappropriated within the sector. And as you recall, this is really a very grave concern. So I therefore guide that this matter be formally presented through a motion to enable this House to take a resolution. So I'll be giving the members time before we close this afternoon to formally move the motion with specific prayers. Thank you very much. Now, on the members, we missed him out. Is Honorable Shave here? Is not? Okay, in that case, I think let us go to item 3.
The National Payment Systems Bill 2019 be read the first time. It's accompanied by the Certificate of Financial Implications.
Is it seconded?
It is overwhelmingly seconded.
Honour members. Okay, seconded. Okay, the bill is sent to the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development for perusal and report back. Item 4. Which rule?
I'm raising a procedural issue, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, in our rules of procedure, there is always an issue of national importance. And Madam Speaker, we had raised them to the attention of the Speaker, and would like to know whether that will be accorded.
I think I've just made a ruling. I made a ruling on this issue that today we need the outstanding questions to be answered.
About the Committee of Education and the report that was supposed to come to Parliament on 13th. I am not aware whether the Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, gave this committee more time for reporting about Makere issues, or they were overtaken by events because of the shenanigans in the caucus. I need your guidance, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honour members, the chair wrote to me, and I think had written on his letter that he should come to the House and get authority from the House formally, because they said they were unable to finish by yesterday, that had interviewed 4 witnesses and they needed more. I expected him or the Vice to come formally and request the House. Is the Vice Chair of Education here? They're not here? They requested in writing, but I said they should come to the floor.
That's why I didn't know.
Okay, item 4. East Africa. And I saw you have a rather lengthy statement. I don't know whether you could just give the highlights.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And would want to inform that East African Community will be marking 20 years of existence since its establishment in 1999. And the overall object achievements under the 4 pillars which we are trying to run this community. That is the customs union, the common markets, integration and widening integration. Yes, deepening in the heads of state. It was observed that 30th November each year, each state shall be celebrating ESC Day. We have been doing this at a low level, but now the summit, which will be sitting in Arusha on 30th, indicated that this should be a day that should be given a national recognition across all national. We shall be getting guidance from Ministry of Public Service on how we can handle this day to be recognized as a day for East African community. Perspective. But I just want you to allow me to bring out this, Madam Speaker, that Article 2 of the treaty undertakes to establish, but we have developed at a very higher level that the East African Community Common Markets has been implemented now at 95%, at 90%, which has harmonized all the custom systems across the 5 states. South Sudan right now is undergoing, would have already been harmonized. The Monetary Union, which came into force 2013, so far 2 bills have been passed by Yala and assented to, and we believe by 20. And the political federation, Madam Speaker, is now a priority. We have already appointed the team of experts who are already undertaking, and our President, President Museveni, is the patron to this. On 18th of November 2019, he will be already having an official inauguration of this team at State House Entebbe. Madam Speaker, today, within this year, we shall be realizing the anniversary or the celebration of the 10th Interparliamentary Games, which are also emerging because of these treaties that we have signed. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Years of cooperation, and we look forward to improved services. 3 minutes, Honorable Somuju.
In his statement, he says 2024, there will be political federation. Can the minister explain to Parliament how that will be achieved when the border between Uganda and Rwanda remain closed? And 2, that you have Ugandans who are crossing to Rwanda and are being shot. 3, all Ugandans who are teaching in Tanzania have been chased. They started with those who are teaching art subject. Now they are chasing those who are teaching sciences. It is very difficult for a Ugandan to work in Tanzania. So can the minister explain to Parliament whether his statement is not a theory or just a wish list that these things will happen? The standard gauge railway, which we are supposed to do with Kenya, it has almost stalled. And the minister should brief Parliament why he is so optimistic that there will be a federation 2024 when almost everybody is on his own and good for everybody.
3 minutes.
Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I'm also concerned about the East African Federation, East African community celebrating the 20 years. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I don't know in the last 20 years whether we have been able to achieve at least one of the most important items that were supposed to be achieved. Right Honorable Speaker, as my colleague has just stated, we were supposed to have a common market. Right now, we don't have free movement of people among states. Our colleagues who tried to move around, they were shot dead on the guise that they were moving with smuggled goods. If we intend to have a common market, I would think that anybody could cross over with his goods, sell to whoever he wants to sell them within the community. But you cannot kill somebody that somebody was moving with smuggled goods. And these are common items within partner states. Madam Speaker, I would think that maybe for the good of the East African community, since in my own opinion, we have not seen much achievement on that side, would I be wrong to propose that maybe we postpone until the 2024 years come so that we can see what can be achieved by that time, and then we can celebrate. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
You, Honorable Sachikubo Amongi Innovation.
And for his attempt to make a statement where he's smuggling and hiding critical issues, Right Honorable Speaker, from this House. Right Honorable Speaker, we do not know how to proceed our contributions to the statement, while knowing that last week you had directed that this Parliament would be informed about the deteriorating relations between Uganda and her neighbors, particularly Rwanda. Right Honorable Speaker, as that was not enough, on the 10th of November, 2 Ugandans, John Baptist Hirirwe and Job Byarushanga, were shot allegedly for smuggling tobacco leaves, for smoking. They were killed, they were shot and killed. Right Honorable Speaker, on May 24th this year, one Alex Nyesiga was also shot for allegedly dealing in second-hand clothes along our border. And now, the minister, instead of telling the gravity of the matter, he meekly tries to present a statement as if we are here to joke. Right Honorable Speaker, we know these are matters of public importance. Neither is the Minister of Defense nor that of Internal Affairs are here to substantiate on the lives of Ugandans. If government cannot secure the property and lives of Ugandans, and now you are telling us to go on the rostrum and dance the 20 years of the cooperation, it's an insult to this Parliament, Right Honorable Speaker. And may I call on my colleagues that in view of the serious matters that warrant the serious Parliament, we do not take this statement until the deep matters are presented to this House. Is Uganda at war? Are we attacked? Yesterday, the Rwandan ambassador, General, was supposed to be handed a demarche by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He declined and ignored. A note of protest was ignored, and nobody is telling us what is happening next. Are we taking these matters to the International Court of Justice? Are we folding our hands and arms? Are we looking on as the innocent Ugandans for
Honorable Sekubo, your time is up.
Yes, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. So, Right Honorable Speaker, these are matters that are too touching, and really would like to expect the same communication channels between Parliament and its government. We are the people's representatives. Any Ugandan killed anywhere is a Ugandan. And we cannot sit here to clap for the statement when these matters affecting and touching Ugandans are swept under the carpet. And none is talking about it, and they don't seem to be ending anyway. We've been patient since January. They seem to be persisting. Right Honorable Speaker, can I move that we suspend this statement until matters of critical importance to this country regarding the security and the lives of our people and their properties are discussed, and then we can go ahead and welcome the statement on deepening and widening of the integration. Otherwise, it is a hollow statement that does not merit the attention and the audience of this Honorable House.
I'll come back to you now. Before Honorable Amongin comes, join me in welcoming our Wanyama Sitati, Honorable Kwamboka Beatrice, welcome. Honorable Mercy Chebeni, Honorable Muhanda LC, Honorable Jusa George Gazemba, Honorable Rolgisoi Naisehenya, always Honorable Naisehenya, welcome. From Burundi, we have Honorable Mbonenko Sauda, Renovant, welcome. Honorable Nduwimana Apipire, Honorable Mpita Banuma, you're welcome. Honorable Ndayorigeje Oilil, Ndayorigeje, welcome. Honorable Bayahaga, you're welcome. They've come with their staff from the different assemblies. You're welcome to Kampala, and wish you good planning with our team here. Honorable Jack Amongin.
say to the Honorable Minister, thank you for presenting the statement. But, Right Honorable Speaker, as you are aware of the history of the EAC and why it was formed, despite the fact that the Minister has talked about deepening and widening the integration, would like to draw our attention to the common market, the free movement of labor and services, and common currency, and also the ultimate political federation. I would have expected the Minister to come here and highlight to the country in terms of the relationship between the EAC, because the EAC has an agenda which is related to the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. I would have also liked to hear from the Minister the achievements so far since the starting of the integration. I believe that as the EAC, we have moved some steps. There are some commendable areas compared to other RECs. Other regional economic communities are praising the East African community because of, first of all, the improvement of infrastructure to some extent. But I would have also liked the Minister to talk about the challenges before we talk about the celebrations. Because as the people of the East African community, and especially Ugandans, we are not at peace, especially when Uganda is a home to everyone. Uganda is being celebrated internationally for the hospitality and hosting internationally refugees. It's the third in the whole world. That is an achievement that the East African countries should appreciate. However, Ugandans out there are not totally recognized, especially within the EAC. As we talk now, Ugandans cannot cross to Rwanda. Let this be a fact. When you're in Rwanda, you feel you cannot say anything. And yet we are one people. I think it's a high time the Minister should have explained to this Parliament that this is where we are moving in terms of addressing the relationship between Rwanda and Uganda. This is where we are moving in terms of our cooperation between Tanzania and Uganda. This is how we are moving in terms of our cooperation between Kenya and Uganda, South Sudan and Burundi. I would have loved to see that. I want to feel happy. I want to feel at peace when I'm in any of those EAC countries, so that I'm proud to be a truly East African, just like I'm proud to be a truly Pan-Africanist and an African. Right, Honorable Speaker, if you are coming to Uganda, you just enter. When you go to other countries, they ask you which...
Okay, 1 minute complete.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, when Uganda is very hospitable. When any East African member comes to Uganda, it's easy. We are too hospitable. But when you go to any of those two of the countries, you will be looked at, and I mean, you're not at ease. You have an ID of Uganda, but they say, where is the document from the LOC one? But I have a national ID. I have a passport. Why am I being queried? I think those are the issues have to be internalized within the EAC if we are to move as one people and achieve an ultimate political federation. But I don't believe where we are now by 2024 that we would have been celebrating the great achievement in the EAC when we are not addressing the issues of human and people's rights as addressed by the protocol which all these EAC countries signed and ratified. I think those are the issues that we need to clear out, because our local people, our Kenyans, our Ugandans, our Tanzanians need to be free anywhere within the EAC. Today we launched the African passport, free movement of people. But ask us whether a local person can easily move to any part of the continent. It's not as easy as you may think. It is just for the elites. It's like this is becoming a club of the elites rather than information.
But I gave you 1 minute, please. Okay, I've seen you.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you. This East African community, Madam Speaker, is an entity which is top-down, and it only thrives, and it is based on the goodwill of the leaders. And the Minister, in his statement, would want to impress upon us
that we have something to celebrate. Honestly, Madam Speaker, Ugandans are mourning. This should be the time when we should be mourning our dead. Even what used to be there as a cooperation, as a coalition of the willing, is no more. You remember, and you recall, Madam Speaker, that Tanzania and another member state, Burundi, have been very shy in moving from isolation to cooperation as far as the East African cooperation or community is concerned. So we had a coalition of the willing, which included Rwanda. But as we talk, Ugandans cannot cross. And moreover, according to the protocols which have been actually highlighted by the statement of the minister, the protocol that removed those restrictions of free movement of labor, free movement of goods, free movement of services is no longer working. As far as the relationship between us and Rwanda is concerned, even Tanzania. By the way, the president of Tanzania at one time impounded cows. Cattle had crossed from Kenya to Tanzania. And those pastoralists had to lose their cows because after impounding them, they were auctioned. If it were not for the magnanimity of His Excellency Uhuru of Kenya, who compensated the pastoralists, this day is also a day for mourning for pastoralists in Kenya. And as I would actually say, we should not be deluded to believe that we have something to celebrate on a day like this. When the Ugandans in Kenya, this I have actually experienced it myself. A Ugandan cannot be allowed to open a bank account unless you adduce a worker permit. Even when you have received letters from the relevant authorities in Uganda, including banks like Equity here. Please.
The information I wanted to give to my colleague, as a committee on Uganda Property Holdings Limited, under the Kenyan Constitution, if I'm not mistaken, if you're not a Kenyan, you're not allowed to own property. In fact, properties of Uganda Property Holdings, Ugandan property, are about to be taken over by Kenya in Mombasa.
Yes. Opening a bank account in Kenya, if you are a non-Kenyan, is a tug of war, almost next to impossibility. Because the stringent measures and restrictions that they have slapped on it cannot be easily broken. Madam Speaker, this East African community that we would want to be deluded by the statement of the minister to celebrate has even no capacity whatsoever to meet its expenses, to actually foot its bills. And Madam Speaker, if you are talking of protocols, removing those restrictions to allow free movement of labor goods and services, it only works in Uganda, by the way. Because, right, yes, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to give my brother information that you said you opened borders between us and Kenya. I will give a few examples. In the accountants area, Kenyans will come and take our jobs here. And that applies even to hotels. Madam Speaker, you remember when we fought for Ginger Crescent Crane when they wanted to sell it? The Kenyans were happy that they should sell it and they buy it, and it becomes Utari of Kenya. In Kenya, to get land, Madam Speaker, you must get a Kenyan to be a shareholder so that you can get what? Land. But for them, when they come here, it's free. So, Madam Speaker, the Minister of East Africa, whom I know, you know, is from the border. You know, in the border, there's no true one. For him, might be benefiting across because Busia are there, they vote in everywhere. He might be having an identity card of Kenya while he's here in Uganda. For him, it might be beneficial to him. But the truth, we and the Kenyans, we have a huge, huge problem.
No, you are very generous. You are very generous to your colleagues. Honorable Semuju has said something which has alarmed me, that our properties in Mombasa, bought by the taxpayers' money, is going to be confiscated by a brother government. And we are going to just watch. Honorable Angura, I hope you'll be able to arrest that situation. Honorable Angura.
Thank you very much.
To the best of my knowledge, I know those properties in Kenya are under foreign affairs and therefore a property of the Embassy of Uganda in Kenya, and they are supposed to be protected.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the updates. What the Minister has told us, I can confirm in some instances, as someone who represents the border constituency, that there are some gains that we have achieved that I can really confirm to the House. In terms of movement of persons, the migration systems are a bit efficient now, and that has helped our people take a shorter time at the borders. I also want to confirm that the customs union might be moving faster, because now for me at the border now, the vehicles that used to spend 7 days now spend a shorter time. But that has come with a problem to us. The East African community has actually created a very big disadvantage to us, people who live within the borders, because it has eroded all the employment opportunities that we had, and with minimal alternatives to take care of the interests of the people at the border. I want to give an example of Malaba. Malaba as an urban town was growing because of the cross-border trade. But now we are stagnating. We are stagnating because the systems have been shifted. All the clearance has been shifted to Mombasa, and this is disadvantaging us. And how I wish the inland port that is being constructed in Naivasha be transferred to the border. Then we know that we are sharing these services. We are now going to have 2 ports in Kenya, one at Mombasa and again another one in Naivasha. So in this case, as Uganda, we are losing. We should be able to share these opportunities by having another port being brought inland such that it can serve the neighboring countries. I also want, Madam Speaker, to inform this House that at the elite level, we might be seeing the East African community with some results. But at the local level, there's really a lot to be desired. Like many of my colleagues have said, movement across the border of the ordinary wananchi is really not as free as the East African protocols enshrine. My ordinary people within the border, when they cross the other side, and they cross to my fellow people the other side, asking for documents is the order of the day. But when we receive our neighbors here in Uganda, like Sudanese, like Kenyans, no one even knows that they are foreigners. They are just considered like Ugandans. So we really need, Honorable Minister, for you to implement what the protocols really entail, such that we can all enjoy.
No, Gafam, sir. Then, honor members, I hope, not even in shirts, but in their suka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thought this is very important to guide ourselves procedurally. When my brother, Honorable Bright Ramirama, stood up to give us information, he mentioned, first of all, that he doesn't know about these properties which belong to Uganda Property Holdings, but went ahead to mislead the House by saying that that is under Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which is not true. I know for a fact that these fall under the Ministry of Finance. I'm also aware that there were attempts to place them under Ministry of Foreign Affairs for whatever mischievous reason, but that did not succeed.
Right Honorable Speaker, in light of what has been laid on the floor of this House, is it not procedurally right going forward that we direct the Ministry of Finance to report on the status of our property in Kenya, part of which I know leases are expiring in a year or two and are not liable for renewal? Is it not procedurally right that at this moment you'll be pleased to direct the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to give, Finance, to give a report to Parliament on the status of these properties and the steps taken by government, bilateral steps undertaken by government to save these properties from being lost?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At the beginning of this year, we were in Nairobi, and we were with the ambassador, the commissioner, and we were at the embassy. And they told us very much and very well that if we are not careful, part of the property is going. This year at the beginning, at the embassy, that's where we sat. So, Madam Speaker, as the colleague has said, possibly you could even give a time frame for the Minister of Finance to give the status, because this is information we got from the embassy, that they have tried, they have struggled, but part of the property is going.
Honourable Minister of Finance, this is extremely alarming, and I want to direct that you, within a fortnight, you will give us an update on the status of our properties in Mombasa, and especially the legal position, because the leases are expiring and the government is going to re-enter. I don't know who will sit in Nairobi to battle with the government, negotiate, and so on and so forth. So fortnight to bring the information.
Information, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, where we went and verified, and they said the house was already taken over by Kenyan government.
In the city of Kisumu?
Uganda Railways Corporation.
Honourable Minister, Uganda has raised a number of issues, and as a country, we have realized that indeed Ugandans in all the neighboring countries, we are not safe, and yet our neighbors are safe in our country. And Madam Speaker, arising from the submission of the Minister, we found that there are still gaps which maybe we needed more information to be put on table. For example, Madam Speaker, our neighbors in Kenya can travel and buy properties, even foodstuff, all the way, and yet our sugarcane cannot be allowed to go across our borders. We find that Kenyans and our neighbors work in Uganda in all industries comfortably, but you have heard that our Ugandans who are in Tanzania and our neighboring countries, they cannot be allowed to work there. Madam Speaker, is indeed procedure right that we let the minister go back with this report, give in all the details of what is missing up so that it is brought fully here for the Parliament of Uganda to take a decision to protect our people and our economy as we move to federate in East Africa. Let's listen a bit. I just wanted to add that recently I was told that there are Kenyans buying melons in Buyende. The other place there. They go there to buy.
Madam Speaker, we seem to be so much focused on celebrating and commemorating something that we are not deeply even appreciating, all of us as East Africans. For Uganda, yes, maybe the way we understand, the way we appreciate this federation, we have not probably shared it the same way and appreciated it the same way with our colleagues from other East African countries. We are talking about the pillars on which we thought would work as members of East African community. My expectation, Madam Speaker, would have been for the minister to come here and update us on the key milestones on each pillar. For the common market, this is where we have reached. This is where this is what we plan to do, and this is so far how far we have gone. The customs and the rest movement of people and goods within the East African community, things are not working that way. Now we talk of even the political federation, which is supposed to be the apex, the summary, when we have conclusively done all the other and achieved the where we have lost our people trying to cross to Rwanda, our neighbor, and then we are mourning, and here we are celebrating. For me, Madam Speaker, do I explain this, for example, on the day we are supposed to commemorate the 20 years of existence of this African community, to my people in Rwanda that I represent, if they ask me, what is it that we are celebrating? What should I be? And give us details on all these issues we are raising, update us how far we have gone on each pillar, the key milestones that we...
Forex bureaus in Uganda sell Kenyan currency, but forex bureaus in Kenya don't sell Ugandan currency. They don't. You will not find a Ugandan currency in the forex bureaus of Kenya. But here we have the Kenyan currency. So we wonder which federation and which business are we running.
Right, Speaker.
Then I go there. Order. Yes, I'm coming. I've seen it.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the statement. There was border reaffirmation at the border of Uganda and Tanzania. During that time, side of Uganda, you can easily choose where to stay, but you are not going to be compelled either to leave the other side of Uganda or Tanzania. But those Ugandans who were found the other side of Tanzania, they lost each and everything. Land, cows, gardens, name it, and they are now refugees within Uganda. And when we reported that issue in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, East African Federation, they told those people that they are going to be compensated, but up to now. Another thing, Right Honourable Speaker, maybe the issue was initiated here, practiced here, implemented here. That's why those people take that advantage of using Uganda to benefit like all Ugandans. But in those countries, in Tanzania, even now, there is no way you can move freely to Tanzania and you get anything. Let me tell you, Madam Speaker, even last month, the cows went to the other side of Tanzania, where Kagera side is. They went for water. But up to date, those cows are still there and we are fighting with those people. But you Tanzanians, they're even here in Kampala, enjoying, sleeping, eating like Ugandans. Maybe it's because the idea was initiated here, implemented here, practiced here. But the other side, it was merely sold, but not fully adhered. So I would love to ask the minister, really, is it because the idea was initiated here, not implemented the other side? And you want us now to celebrate? Celebrate what? When Ugandans are refugees within their own countries. We want those people also to behave like the way we behave if they want to cooperate with us. Failure to do that, Madam Speaker, it would be better, really, we call them on board and we see whether they are within the system or not. But otherwise, our people are suffering. I thank you.
Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the statement. Okay. We, the communities along the borders, from Kisoro to Karamoja, around Uganda, we are the most affected. For example, you cannot talk about integration for the last 20 years when you have not disarmed some of the communities in South Sudan, in Kenya. When Turkanas are killing our people each and every day in Karamoja. So what are you talking about integration? You first sort out those issues, all the challenges, then we can now integrate. Madam Speaker, last month, my ambulance went to Kenya. They extorted the money from my boys that they should pay the money for crossing the border. When ambulance went to pick the patient, they had to extort money. Is that integration? So, Honorable Minister, you are not aware on the challenges that we are facing along the borders. First of all, do your research before you bring the statement. Thank you.
Then the opportunity, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as the Minister...
Order members, these are serious issues. Honorable Ilukol.
Yes, Madam Speaker, whereas we thank the Minister for the report, but we would like to inform the Minister that from the information available, it is patriotic among the East African community members. The rest are just there for strategic reasons. Madam Speaker, it's only Uganda which is very active and up to date in subscribing to the East African community affairs. Madam Speaker, in that East African community, there are about 2 members who have not been even paying their annual subscription. And I'm told Uganda has been standing for them. Which type of federation is this where others are participating for free and others are standing for the rest? Madam Speaker, on the side of properties, which Honorable Semojo had mentioned, the new law of Kenya, I know Council knows, says that no foreigner should own land beyond a certain kilometerage from the harbor, from the sea. And our leases, especially in Mombasa, were about to expire. So that law is going to catch up with us. The sooner the minister negotiates, the better maybe. But he should come and tell us what they are doing, because the law is soon catching up with us, because our leases are expiring. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Ogong?
Clearly, we elected our members to represent us there, and they are there. From the East African community, they have passed laws of the community. A number of laws have been passed in Yala. The problem is not about whether they are working or not, but the Yala is working. This is an achievement that we need to state clearly. Madam Speaker, when you look at the movement of persons, these are truths.
Honour members, please allow.
These are truths.
Allow the member to speak.
I
please.
have information. It is better you listen to me.
Honour Bitangaro.
Oh, thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to join my colleagues in thanking the Minister for presenting this paper. Having said that, Madam Speaker, I have my reservations on this paper. If I stood here in this Parliament and started celebrating its achievements, people in Ixore would stone me. You are reading in newspapers people who have been shot. Trade between the two countries is totally dead. Then social relations are totally in the integration and in trade and the customs union. But what is happening between our sister state, Uganda and Rwanda, is really very disappointing. And I'm wondering, secondly, I am wondering, maybe of goods by Ugandans to Rwanda, is the punishment shooting people? So I'm hoping that people who will be on the delegation,
No, Oguzu, Navasirie, Kasivante. Let's start with those.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Where Uganda has done well and has done wrong, so that we can align our policies.
No, Sentongo?
To the statement, I thought that maybe it is by design or it is by art that we celebrate or commemorate days whereby we don't give an account of what has happened in terms of the objectives that we have set. I was thinking of what I would tell the people of Chotera, of what we have benefited from this ESC membership. For instance, immediately when the President Magufuli took over in Mutukula border before Kagera, all the Ugandans that were inhabitants there for many, many years, they were all deported back to Uganda with all their property left in Tanzania. And they are still there suffering. As if that is not enough, recently my colleague, Honorable from Kakuto, reported the traders in cows, the traders that were trading in cows, they were able, the Kenyans, to tell Ugandans when they had reached Uganda with their cows, that these cows are from Tanzania. How can you differentiate a cow from Tanzania when there are no labels? And all the cows were confiscated, the laborers lost their business, but when the cows go and eat from the border of Tanzania, that is okay, that's their cows, and they cannot return to Uganda. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I don't think it is good for the minister to come here and is not able to tell us, to give an accountability of the achievements of the cooperation within the ESC, so that we can tell the laywoman there down that this is what we are benefiting from the partnership or the collaboration, and these are the challenges we are facing, and we are going to do ABCD to address the challenges. I think the people would appreciate it, because nobody is perfect. You can achieve, but you have challenges. So to give you a benefit of doubt, Honorable Minister, give us a proper statement telling us what did we set out to do with this ESC membership, what have we benefited, what are the challenges, and what is the way forward. We don't need to celebrate, white elephants. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
No, Kasiri, Kausivante. No, honourable members.
Madam Speaker, having heard from a previous colleague speaking, Honorable Achidri, because the statement we make here, we are political leaders, and the statement that we make in terms of the sovereignty of the other country, the Honorable Member mentioned that we have intervened on the political affairs of a sovereign country, that is South Sudan. And I think, as a parliament, we should not just leave that statement to just go like that, because it tantamounts to affect the relationships between already existing relationship between Uganda and South Sudan. Madam Right Honorable Speaker, are we procedurally right to allow the Honorable Member to sustain that, to leave that statement in our Hansard without being challenged? Right Honorable Speaker.
I don't know whether Honorable Member Achidri wants to substantiate.
Right Honorable Speaker, we are all aware that the Uganda People's Defense Force was in South Sudan. We are aware of this fact, and they still continue to be there. How do you expect a country like South Sudan to federate politically under the East African Community when you have active forces in that country where they could resolve their own problems?
Point of order, Minister for Veterans Affairs.
Madam Speaker, it is common knowledge that UPDF was in South Sudan to repatriate Ugandans, and was, yes, and I'm not a liar, Madam Speaker. It is also on Hansard that members appreciated what UPDF did. It is also known that Uganda has been mediating and trying to bring peace in the region. Is the member in order to impute that Uganda was interfering in the sovereignty of another state, when it is common knowledge that Uganda has been in the middle of mediating between the fighting factions in our neighbors?
And in any case, they had requested for it.
Honourable members, I think it's a question of interpretation, but it's true that the UPDF is in South Sudan. In fact, we passed a budget. This House passed a budget to support them there. So they were requested to go to South Sudan. Honourable Kasivant.
Fundamental, they are indigenous tenure systems. When you go to the other member states, theirs are different. I believe the minister should come and thoroughly explain that. But lastly, and I'm mentioning this because we are like burying the dead body, because we are acting differently, burying the federation in making, and somebody is talking about celebrating the life of the one we are preparing to bury.
Why is this happening? Because when you look at Rwanda, I wish the Minister of Foreign Affairs was here. I sit in the Committee of Foreign Affairs. We have a very big challenge on the situation in Rwanda. Apart from just giving a protest note, there are many other issues that need to be raised to Rwanda. Look at the situation in northern Uganda, Sudan, in the border, the South Sudan, in the border between Lamu district and Eastern Equatoria. Ngwamuromo, that is Lamu. You find that it is only the RDC of Uganda.
Honorable Gongo, you see, there is mentioning what we have got, but he has not mentioned what they have taken from us. If you go to Kenya with your identity card, if it is a season for planting maize, they will get you and call you Makanyago, so that you go in a prison to go and dig for them maize. Then after 30 days, they release you. Free labor. These people are really dangerous.
I think in Uganda we have tried. Many institutions have tried integration. If you look at our universities, they have tried the processes of integration. I must say I'm a beneficiary of this, because rather than going through Arusha, I socially integrated with the Kenya and getting a family member from the other side without any struggle. And I believe at the state level, we have reached a level where Uganda should accept there are challenges. And you can even see at the treaty level that when a summit is called, it cannot proceed because the treaty says that all the heads of states of the parties must be present. Now, all these are challenges that is making us not move forward. So, Mr. Minister, this was a very good opportunity to bring this issue. Now, let us deal with the outcome of your statement. I don't even believe the minister should come back in the near future. We need to go beyond 2 weeks. We need to go beyond 2 weeks because the issues are more than the 2 weeks. You may just come again and give us a report, which will just be nominal in nature. We need substantive issues to be brought to this parliament, properly thought through, and then we debate from the point of...
Onakelo, then we agree.
The East African Federation we are talking about only provides a platform for political leaders like us and at a higher level to go and toast glasses of wine in Arusha and in other capitals. But the ordinary person who is supposed to benefit is not benefiting, as having been heard from all the speakers who spoke before me, especially when it comes to the issues of free movement of personnel and provision of employment facilities. Right, Honorable Speaker, in this marriage, each of the 5 countries has got a comparative advantage over one another. However big you may look, however small you may look, you have one particular comparative advantage that puts you on equal footings with the partner states. However, if such a marriage is not working the way we see it, I want to be like, I don't want to be like Jesus Christ, who said when you are given a slap on the left cheek, turn it the right. By the way, at times we forge relationships and good working relationships through divergent approaches. Recently, you saw what happened in South Africa. When xenophobia was being carried out in South Africa, Nigerian businessmen and women were being violently chased away. Abuja reciprocated and also closed businesses of other partner states, and it brought sanity. So for us, if we find our animals, our people being denied access through visas, through freedom of movement, probably at your level as ministers, if you also brought it to the attention of the other partner states that Uganda is also capable of doing that. Because we are not going to continue to have our land access to people who are not ready to appreciate that we are in a partnership of marriage. Something has to happen so that everybody knows we are equal partners at this. It is not the first time that we are in this marriage. It collapsed in 1977, and the reasons for which it collapsed are still bold on the wall and in our heads. And it can repeat itself if the moment we continue to go the way we are. Because these issues of border conflicts, issues of free movement of goods and services, just recently, we're talking about excess sugarcane production from Uganda. And to have access to the Kenyan market, a peasant from Kamuli, a peasant from Kakira, a peasant from Mayuge, crossing just crossing the common border in a Fuso or a Tata lorry with a hard-earned sugarcane and is denied access. And yet we find a lot of Kenyan trucks coming and visiting our villages, especially in Kiriandongo. They are everywhere, in every new place, loading their trucks with the maize and it challenged and it disturbed. Probably if we also put such harsh conditions, then they will be able to appreciate that they need us as much as we need them, and that there will be respect and we will treat each other at a level of courtesy, and humanity will prevail. Otherwise, Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. Mr. Minister, go back to Arusha and tell your counterparts there that Ugandans are not happy. We are hospitable people, but they are not reciprocating. Thank you.
Fungaro, Kakoza, Nandara.
On my own behalf, and on behalf of the people of Obongi whom I represent here, I would like to say the following. One, let this be an opportunity for us as a parliament to reflect on the path of integration that we have taken, we have followed so far in the 20 years. The minister's statement should be received positively to trigger that kind of reflection. We, as people of Obongi, last year took a tour to Arusha as part of the activity for the celebration of Obongi Day 2018. Right on, our speaker, I would like to register here a local government to local government relationship. That was what was there. The city of Arusha, a city is a local government, and a district we were preparing for, a local government. We were received very well in Tanzania. We were received very well by the authorities of Arusha City Council. We were treated very well. We stayed there for 1 week. And what we were hearing for the first time and what we were experiencing was a love which originated from the spirit that we were one people called East Africans. I don't know the reason for the difference in our experiences, but we said we needed to reciprocate. We needed to bring down the integration from the one of high-profile people to those of the community, so that people-to-people integration takes place. But right on, our speaker, I want to ask this question to the minister. Are you aware of the complaints that Ugandans have raised here and outside? As a government, have you received such complaints, or have you communicated to Tanzania about the bad feelings of the Ugandans which are being explained and expressed here? Right on, our speaker, we can also bury our heads when it comes to state-to-state relationship. We witnessed when we were in Arusha, that time it coincided with the 20th East African Community Heads of State Summit. We were there and we were given 10 slots as Obongians to attend that summit. But we saw a quarrel between other states other than Uganda. There was, for example, bad feeling between Rwanda. Right on, our speaker, I would like to register here a local government to local government relationship. That was what was there. The city of Arusha, a city is a local government, and a district we were preparing for, a local government. We were received very well in Tanzania. We were received very well by the authorities of Arusha City Council. We were treated very well. We stayed there for 1 week. And what we were hearing for the first time and what we were experiencing was a love which originated from the spirit that we were one people called East Africans. I don't know the reason for the difference in our experiences, but we said we needed to reciprocate. We needed to bring down the integration from the one of high-profile people to those of the community, so that people-to-people integration takes place. But right, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask this question to the Minister. Are you aware of the complaints that Ugandans have raised here and outside? As a government, have you received such complaints, or have you communicated to Tanzania about the bad feelings of the Ugandans which are being explained and expressed here? Right, Honorable Speaker, we can also bury our heads when it comes to state-to-state relationship. We witnessed when we were in Arusha, that time it coincided with the 20th East African Community Heads of State Summit. We were there and we were given 10 slots as Ubongians to attend that summit. But we saw a quarrel between other states other than Uganda. There was, for example, bad feeling between Rwanda